This is how I'm envisioning it. I want billboards, big billboards in the city with my face on them, just so that all of the people who thought that I would go nowhere in life, I want you to look at me in the face while you're driving to your boring ass office job, because I know you're stuck in traffic and you're gonna have plenty of time to stare at me.
Here I am, just trying to be myself. It's a crazy world, looking to find my place, and all they do is la 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 la.
Welcome back to another episode of Barely Edited. My name is Bianca Venna. I don't do New Year's resolutions. I feel like they're just bullshit. I am who I am. That's who I was yesterday. It's who I was the day before. It's who I'm going to be today, tomorrow, and probably for the rest of my entire life. If you're going to do something, it doesn't have to start on January 1st. Also, because most of the time when people do New Year's resolution, I feel like you might pretend that you want to do it on January 1st. And then by January 6th, when everybody's going back to work, it's already fucking over for you. Can't be a coincidence that this year everybody's abandoning their New Year's resolution because we all collectively feel like something fucked up is happening. Something is coming. I feel like it just doesn't make sense between the plane crashes. Somebody just messaged me. Plane crashes, mysterious fogs worldwide. They're claiming aliens. People died in NOLA and Vegas on New Year's Eve. Bird flu and lockdowns in the States have already begun. Political climate, war, genocide. What the fuck is going on? I have been scrolling TikTok for the last couple days, and the amount of plane crashes that I have seen are extremely alarming. Do we really ever hear about that many plane crashes all in like such a short span of time? Because I feel like that's not normal. Please do not quote me on this, but I feel like I heard there was 18 different plane crashes just from Christmas until yesterday. And I just heard that there's another plane crash that just happened in California about an hour ago. The scary part is my mom, my sister, and my stepdad were supposed to go to Florida on December 29th, and they did not get on the flight because they were supposed to be flying standby, and they were sure that they weren't going to make it because the flight was oversold. December 29th, there was 4 different plane crashes. One of them being Air Canada. I'm pretty sure it was a flight, I think in Quebec City or Toronto, Halifax. And I've just had a very eerie feeling ever since New Year's Eve. I don't know what it is. Have you ever had that feeling that you feel like you've already been somewhere before, or it's like, I can't even say deja vu, because I don't know if that's exactly what it is, but it's like a feeling that you felt it in the past, but you can't really make out what it is. So I'll give you some context. 2019, New Year's Eve, going into 2020, we were hired to do this event at this location. I just remember while I was at the event, I had this weird feeling while I was listening to the music. It was like a Moulin Rouge theme. There was this eerie vibe going on. And anyways, that was the year that everything ended up going to shit. And so I had a very similar feeling this year. And oddly enough, 3 days before New Year's, this same company calls me. By the way, this company has not called me since we did that video for them that year. Tells me that they fired the team that was supposed to be doing their New Year's Eve event coverage, and they wanted to hire us again. Got to the event, and I got this same fucking eerie feeling. I don't know if I believe in coincidences. It just, something felt very, very odd about it. And now all of a sudden there's all these plane crashes, and it's the same vibe that I had New Year's 2020 when I knew something was up. I knew something was something was cooking. We didn't know what it was. We would shortly find out after what it was, but you can't tell me you don't feel like something is happening, because I really feel like something is off. Anyways, my New Year's was quite eventful. I really don't feel like talking about it at all, and I'm sure that you don't care to listen to it. So I'm not going to bore you with any of the details. All I'm going to say is that it's become increasingly clear to me that I do not enjoy clubbing. But while I was at the club, I guess this is my first experience with this situation, and I kind of want to know what you think. Same-sex bathrooms. When it comes to girls and bathrooms, I really feel like this is such a sacred place for us. So much happens in the bathrooms. I have made friends in the bathroom. There is just, it's like a club all on its own. If you're a girl, you know. And every time you go in there, there's girls sitting on the counters, like doing their makeup. Some are doing drugs in the corner. Someone's crying. Someone's laying down on the floor taking a little nap. Someone's playing music on their phone. Someone's like talking about an ex-boyfriend they saw. There's so much that goes on in that bathroom. You could literally stay there for like a portion of the evening and you will have the best time, probably better than the time you would actually have in the club. I had never experienced same-sex bathrooms up until yesterday night, and the experience that I had was it just wasn't it. And before you get your panties in a bunch about it, let me explain why. The bathroom has always been a sacred place, a sacred, safe space for women. That is not what it was 2 days ago. I was standing in line. I went to the bathroom. Thankfully, the bathroom was right next to our table. There was one guy next to me on my right. Then it was me. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 guys came in right after me. So essentially, I was the only girl that was in the line. The guys to my left did not even wait 5 seconds before they started asking me stupid questions, trying to make conversation. What are you doing here? What the fuck do you think I'm doing here? I'm about to piss myself. You think I really want to entertain a conversation with you right now? I don't want to speak to you in the club. Why would you think I'd want to have a conversation with you in the bathroom? He's trying to talk to me. I'm like very clearly leaning this way as he's trying to talk to me more and more. The bathroom is literally like so tiny. We're already like squished in the bathroom. So it's like, please don't talk to me and don't come near me. And thank God for the guy to my right, because as soon as a stall opened up, he did not have to let me pass. But I think he saw that I was visibly very uncomfortable with the guys next to me. And so he let me go. But all of that to say is like, I went to the bathroom. I went really, really quickly because I felt awkward. There's only 3 stalls. I got out of the bathroom and like where I would normally probably had some conversation with some drunk girls that were next to me. No, we didn't do any of that. It's a different story if the bathroom was for the girls and the gays. The hetero straight men had their own fucking bathroom because now they're just using this to their advantage to get girls alone in a bathroom in a space that used to be a safe space, and it is no longer a safe space. It's actually where they somehow feel like they have an opportunity to talk to you, where you can't even leave because if you're about to piss your pants, you literally have to just wait in fucking line until the guy stops talking to you, because I've been standing in line for 5 minutes. Like fucking hell am I gonna leave now? I'm waiting for this bathroom, and so that also means that I have to listen to you talk to me. I just have to kind of stand there and go like, sure, yeah, and just hope to fucking God that the person in the stall right now is not shitting themselves and is just gonna hurry the fuck up, get out of the bathroom so that I could go in the bathroom and hide from you, from these men in the line, these gross men. So that's how I'm feeling about same-sex bathrooms. La, 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 la. So I'm not going to assume that anybody knows what I do for a living, but I'm going to give you a bit of context. I am a photographer. I'm a videographer. I own my own company, but I hate saying that I'm a photographer, videographer, because I do so much more than that. I am an entrepreneur. I've owned a business, Lonely Girl Productions, a digital marketing agency in Montreal, Canada. I can't believe 2025 is going to mark 10 years of my business. 10 years of a business that quite literally nobody thought would succeed. Sometimes even including myself. We have truly come such a long fucking way. And I have so much planned for 2025. So please, let's not cancel it. Part of what I do is I am a wedding videographer and photographer and coordinator, which means that the question that I get asked most frequently is, when am I going to get married? You know that saying that they say, if it's not broke, don't fix it? I love my life with Stefano, and I'm not in any rush to get married, even though we have been together. In July, it's going to be 10 years. But I also know that I have not always felt this way. There was a period in the first couple years where I was like, why am I not married yet? But I think also working in the wedding industry and dealing with so many different couples, you really start to see the pros and the cons to being married. Maybe I can't really necessarily say the cons. No, I could say the cons. But I feel like what works for you works for you. And right now, this is what works for us. I also think that in the beginning, the fact that Stefano was from Italy, well, not what, he's still from Italy. He has his permanent residency now, but when he didn't have his permanent residency, I feel like everybody's first solution to getting his his residency here in Canada was like, why don't you guys just get married? And newsflash, it doesn't fucking work that way anymore. There's no such thing as getting married to somebody and then poof, magically becoming Canadian. And so I think for the first couple years, I was against getting married because I didn't want immigration to think that we were just getting married for ulterior motives, even though that's never what it's been. It's what everybody constantly insinuated anytime they spoke to me about marriage. Stefano and I are together 24/7. And when I say 24/7, I literally mean 24/7. Beside going to the bathroom separately, we are always together. In these 10 years, I think maybe the longest period that we've ever been apart from each other is a couple of hours when he's gone to work without me. And even at that, I feel like we really try to limit how long we spend apart from each other if one of us has to go somewhere alone, because most of the time we do everything together. And I know that that doesn't work for everybody. And a lot of the time people are like, wow, do you guys ever get sick of each other? And the really short answer to that is no. In my other relationships, I constantly always looked for somebody who wanted to spend time with me as much as I wanted to spend time with them. But that's just what I was looking for in a relationship. And I found that every relationship I was in, I always wanted to spend a lot more time with that person than they wanted to spend with me. And so I spent a lot of time trying to pretend that I didn't want to spend time with somebody, or I spent a lot of time trying to fill the time away from my significant other, pretending that I was doing X, Y, and Z. I don't know. I mean, granted, I also had several jobs when I was growing up, so I didn't have my own company. It wasn't as easy for me to kind of do whatever I wanted like I do now with my schedule. I run my schedule now however I want to. It wasn't the same thing back then. So if my boyfriend didn't want to spend time with me back then, I would literally just pick up a couple extra shifts. And I would pretend that I was fine with that, even though the reality of it was I didn't want to be at home sitting there stalking his Instagram or his Facebook or doing fucking drive-bys. But I think when you get into a long distance relationship, you can't do any drive-bys because he was 10,000 kilometers away from me. And so being in a long distance relationship really taught me how to trust somebody. And the craziest part is that people really did not make it easy. I feel like when we got together, everybody talked so much shit about us and everybody was so convinced that we were going to cheat on each other. And it was the first time in my life that I actually trusted a partner. And that is insane coming from me, because if you knew me before Stefano, you know that I was a psychopath. And by that, I mean, I literally was that girlfriend who would be hiding in the bush in front of your house, call you just to ask you what you're doing to make sure that you were not lying to me. I was a fucking FBI agent. And so when people are like, I don't understand why you guys aren't married, I feel like we are more married than married couples. And I also don't think it's okay to ask people when they're gonna get married. Like, mind your own fucking business. Or asking people when they're gonna have children. Like, can you fuck right off? I have a cat, and I feel like that is just the most that I can take care of right now. And sometimes even at that, I'm like, holy fuck, how do I even take care of a cat? Because sometimes I don't even know how I keep myself alive. A struggle that I really had starting my business was finding other women who liked working as much as I did. And as much as I do. And even now, it's not always super easy for me to find other people who have the same kind of drive that I do for work. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily something that I need in a friend to be able to get along with them or to be able to have something in common with them. But like, is it just me? Because I feel like I don't know what conversations to have with people. Like, only thing I'm thinking is like, what the fuck am I supposed to say? Because all I want to talk about is work, or like something that happened at work, or a business idea, or like I don't know, some type of way to make money. That's just the way that my brain works. And it could be because I didn't come from money and that's how my brain worked. I was just always trying to figure out how I was going to survive. I think where I got my entrepreneurial spirit started at a very young age when I started selling weed to girls. I always found there was like a void in that industry. It was always men selling weed, and like girls wanted to smoke also, but where were you going to go find it? We did not want to meet with like some random sketchy guy who sold weed out of his basement and had like a pit bull. That is where I came in. It gave me the opportunity to smoke weed when I wanted to, and it gave me spending money. And at the same time, I felt like I was making the world a little safer. And I feel like that's truly where I learned the importance of a dollar and how to do business and how to keep clients. I really think that's the beginning of Bianca the entrepreneur. Growing up, I always had a lot of friends. I think I didn't understand what a healthy friendship looked like. And I think a lot of that is to blame on the type of television that I watched. Gossip Girl, 90210, The OC. Everyone would screw their friend over and it was fine. And so somewhere along the line growing up, we started to think that these things were okay. I don't know, like, is it just me? But I feel like I never really had that healthy of friendships growing up. As an adult, I look around myself and I think I don't have that many good friends. Am I sad about that? No, because the few friends that I do have, I would not trade for the absolute world. Even if it meant only having my best friend, I would pick him over 25 friends. But I mean, I can't be the only one who sometimes I'll land on TikToks of these like girl groups who just seem to be having the best fucking time together. And I'm like, fuck, why didn't I have that growing up? But then I remember why the fuck you don't want to be in a girl group. In the recent years, I did end up finding a kind of group that I started to spend a lot of time with. And initially, I really did like them. And then it was only a matter of time before I started to see all the red flags. And at first I was like, this is fine. I'm sure every friend group has these little issues. And then as the friendship progressed, I was like, I don't think this is fucking normal that these people all talk shit about each other. And that should have been my first like ding, 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 ding. Like these people have all been friends for a really long time and they all talk shit about each other. Literally, there's not one of those girls in that group that don't talk horrendously about each other. I know that it's normal sometimes to be pissed off at one of your friends and say something to another person in the group because that's your friend group and nobody knows those girls the same way as you guys do. So if there's somebody that you need to talk to about, you know, something that happened in a friend group, it's going to be those people. There's a difference between like venting about something that happened and then just straight up constantly talking shit about a person's personality or constantly just talking shit about how much you dislike a person, but then you find yourself hanging out with them every single fucking night when it's convenient for you. And so I found myself in this group where in the beginning, I was really good at kind of keeping myself out of the drama because again, I was not used to being in a girl group. And so I didn't really understand the dynamics of it. And I liked everybody in the group equally, let's say. And so I was kind of just going with the flow. And, you know, you'd hear like chitter chatter kind of around the group. And so I got to know everybody and slowly, you know, everybody has their own personalities and we all have our weird little things. And I mean, I think that's normal. But as it progressed, I just found that these people were so fucking horrible to one another. And truly, I let this friendship go on way longer than it should have. And I wasted time, effort, energy, lots of fucking money. We did still have some good times, but it was just so toxic. And I truly think that it took me a full fucking year to kind of get over the trauma from that because I feel like I still have friend trauma now. I feel so fucking blessed to be in a good relationship because if it wasn't for Stefano, I don't know where the fuck I would be right now. I look at some of my single friends who are on dating apps and oh Lord, I am not jealous of that at all. Sometimes I think about the fact that I have lived in a generation where dating apps right now are, I guess, where a majority of people meet. I think about when I first started doing weddings and I would ask couples like, where did you guys meet? And they would literally be embarrassed to tell me that they met on Plenty of Fish or Tinder because it was like so fresh and so new. Now I want you to find me a couple that hasn't met online. Now it's rare if I ask someone and they're like, we met at a library or we ran into each other at the doctor's office. Like, I don't fucking know. Where do you meet people nowadays? Now, online dating is so extremely normal. And I just find it crazy that I never got to experience that because I am truly a serial dater. I was in a relationship with this psychopath, which this will be an episode on its own. I've talked about this briefly before about the 3.5-ish year relationship that I was in with this psychopath who was extremely abusive, mentally, physically, just an all around real piece of shit. I've touched on certain things and I've debated back and forth, like getting a little bit more into this. And I feel like I will eventually when I feel a little bit more comfortable with it, because I don't know if this is something that people really want to hear about. Now I feel like so much time has passed that I don't always like to revisit it, but I think it is important to let people know that if they are in a relationship that is physically or mentally abusive, it's important to know that you can get out and there are other options, because there truly was a time where I was in a relationship that was so abusive and I did not see a light at the end of the tunnel, and I thought that that was going to be my life for the rest of my life. And now I look at my life and I'm like, oh bitch, like that was a whole other lifetime ago. And so anyways, we will get into that another time, but I went from that relationship to the only time in my life I was single for about 5-6 months. Okay. I call it the slutty adventures of Bianca. And I call it the slutty adventures because it was really a time where I went out on a lot of dates. So that's why I call it the slutty adventures, because I really took it upon myself to say yes to so many guys that I probably normally would not have dated, because I just didn't know what I liked anymore. I feel like when you come out of a relationship that is so mentally abusive, you do not even know what your favorite color is. You don't know what kind of clothes you like. You don't know anything about yourself anymore. So it's really like a learning game where you have to get to know yourself again. And so I figured the best way to do that was to just go on a lot of dates. That's what I did. I met so many people, some nice, some mean, some that I'm happy I went on dates with, some that I probably could have avoided. Then I ended up meeting my last boyfriend before Stefano, and we dated for 3 years as well. And the truth is, I'm going to be super honest. We had an argument. I got on an airplane because I was pissed and I wanted to get back at him. I ended up in Italy, and the next day I was dating Stefano. So do what you wish with that. But some people will look at me and say, wow, what a bitch. I look at it and I'm like, thank fucking God, because that was the biggest life-changing moment for me. And that one decision to get on an airplane so last minute, so spontaneously, changed the entire trajectory of my life. I should mention that that decision came heavily based on the fact that a girl had written me that my ex was on Tinder. And that should tell you everything that you need to know. All of this to say, I feel like I've been in a relationship for 10 years. And so I've really been out of the loop of everything else. And so I have such a high standard when it comes to relationships right now because of Stefano and because the amount of effort and work that we have put into building such a strong foundation and just a good relationship in general, that I feel like I hold the same standard to friends. And so my best friend, Pietro, I feel the same way about him. And so when I meet new friends now, I really hold them at his level, Pietro and Stefano's level of just relationship in general. And so when I don't find that in other people almost right away, I'm like quite quick to kind of write them off. And I know that that's not good. And Stefano tells me all the time that I need to chill the fuck out because I'm very black or white. And it takes very little for me to be turned off completely and never speak to you ever again. That's something that I'm working on. I do need to be a little bit more open. I just feel like I'm very protective of my energy. If I'm in a room with somebody who has slight negative energy, that will absolutely affect the shit out of me. Sometimes when I'm in areas where there's a lot of people and there's so much going on and there's so many auras and energies and vibes, I feel like I'm fucking suffocating. It's difficult for me to go out. I used to be somebody who loved going out all the time. I used to really be extroverted, and now somehow, some way, it's crazy to think that I've actually become really introverted. Like, if somebody would have asked me, what is your ideal New Year's Eve? I would have said, in my bed, watching a movie. Stefano is very different. I feel like that's probably one of our biggest differences, is that he still has that drive to just like go out and party. And if it was up to him, he would party every single night. He would never get sick of partying. He just loves being around people. He's super, super social. And I am too, because when I find myself in, places with him where the vibe is right, we make friends so easily. Like, we are those type of people that people are just attracted to talking to us. No matter where we are, we will make friends with somebody. But I have just become a lot more closed off because I feel like people don't always have the best of intentions. I have just learned so much about people and their personalities that it's hard to unlearn these things. And so when I'm speaking to someone, I see these little things. I see your micro expressions. I see the way you move. I see the way you carry yourself in general. And all of those little things kind of set off like, check marks on certain different lists that I feel will put you in a certain category. So I listen and I judge, but I do that for myself because it's my way of just protecting myself. It's not always easy to make friendships. And so I guess I'm asking, how do you make friendships? What is a way to make new friendships? Because again, like I said, I'm somebody who really just works a lot. And beside events that we do, and thank God that we do a lot of events because that's really where I do meet a lot of friends. Like if I think about it, a lot of the people that are my friends right now is because I've met them through work, I've met them through events, pretty much the circle of my life. But I don't think I could keep going like that forever. And so I would like to kind of put myself a bit more out there when it comes to meeting girlfriends. So I'm still figuring out how I want to go about doing this podcast. I just know that I want this to be a place where it's honest. It's honest and you can judge if you want to, but know that inside of yourself, you probably have felt some of the feelings that I will talk about on this podcast. And I think it's official. I think we will release episodes every Sunday evenings. I feel like it makes sense to do it then. Sundays are like the day of Jesus. It's like the day to just fucking relax and chill out. And it's the vibe that I want the podcast to have. So it only makes sense for it to be on a Sunday evening. And if you want to listen to it on Monday mornings, you could do that too. You can have a good laugh while you're going to work. You don't have to watch the video. You can also just tune in by audio if you'd like. But I was also thinking, I don't know if I'm always going to do it in the same spot. So where I am today, the only reason I'm here is because this room, I decided to clean it. And this is where I'm going to be editing for the next couple days. As an editor, it is so fucking difficult to always edit in the same place. I feel like it's important for me to constantly move around. And so although I should have an office in my house, it is just filled with boxes right now. And I just constantly move around. Sometimes I'm on the bed. Sometimes I'm here. Sometimes I'm in the kitchen. Sometimes I'm on the couch. Sometimes I'm outside. Sometimes I go to a different country because I feel like I need to edit in a completely different location. I really need inspiration. And so I can't always just stay in the same place because I feel like it's going to make me stale and I run out of ideas. Right now, I'm going to go work on my mini sessions. I remember when I started doing my mini sessions, I thought nobody would sign up for them. And they really were not popular. And I'm not saying I invented mini sessions, but when I started doing mini sessions, I feel like nobody was doing them to the point where people were like, what the fuck is a mini session? And what am I going to get in half an hour or 45 minutes? Because I think when I started my mini sessions, they were like 45-minute sessions where like thinking about it now, I'm like, oh my God, that's horrible because that's literally a full fucking session. And I think I was charging like $45 for it. Now our mini sessions are anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. And although some people will look at that and think like, wow, that is no time at all. That is so much time in the photography world. And with this year being Lonely Girl's 10-year anniversary, I have so many fun mini sessions planned out, provided that this whole fucking year doesn't go to shit with like the invasion of aliens. And for the grand highlight of the year, I really, really, really want to have a fuck you party in July. This is how I'm envisioning it. I want billboards. I want big billboards in the city with my face on them. Just so that all of the people who thought that I would go nowhere in life, I want you to look at me in the face while you're driving to your boring ass office job. Because I know you're stuck in traffic and you're gonna have plenty of time to stare at me. I want to throw a hell of a party. I know I gotta get on it. I just need to figure out what I want to do because I don't want it to be a regular party. I want it to be a sick party. I want to involve my clients. I want to involve other businesses that I love and I really want to support. And I just want it to be a night that everybody remembers and everybody loves. I also want to collaborate with a charity. I'm still trying to figure out which one. I'm trying to debate if I want to do something either with some type of charity that maybe supports women who have come out of abusive relationships or maybe something to do with animals. I'm not sure. So I got to figure that out. And as soon as I have more details, you know that I'm going to tell you here. But for now, I think that's it. I really want to get into my bed and watch TV, even though I know I say that, but then I'm going to start editing. What day is it? Is it Sunday? No, it's not Sunday. It's Friday? It's Thursday, but it's 1 o'clock in the morning, so it's Friday. Thank you for listening to Barely Edited, and I hope that you stick around for next week. Bye!
Mirror, mirror, tell me, what is it about them? Living like it's their game. Karma said it better than me, you'll just end up losing.